Uh, we're going to talk about Jackson. There's your pen back. I'm sorry. Um, you got the mics on. Okay, thank you, Jackson. Carolyn Cox, who's been with me before, you all know her. Leanne Allen Carmack. Leanne, thank you for doing this. Carolyn, thank you, both of you. I've got a couple of things maybe you all might want to talk over of the Republican proposals. Some of them have come about. Of course, we all know about the Supreme Court abortion position. We all know that. State of Florida, 6-week abortion ban, abortion pill ban. Do y'all still have the right to vote, by the way, being women? I didn't know.
Maybe not longer in this
Yeah,
state.
okay, all right, okay. I just wanted to check and be sure. We need to do something about that. Trump judge appointments, we don't want to go on that. Banning of certain books. We're going to burn the books. Now, lack of gun restrictions nationwide. The Tennessee and Kentucky shootings that we all know about. By the way, my cousin, who is a heart surgeon in Louisville, knew that man. The man that was 64. What's his name? Tilly, I believe. I forget. But they served on a committee together for the American Health Association. Knew him for 15 years. Fine fellow. And he said, I'm pretty sure one of the ladies I had worked on a situation with, too, over the years. He's in Los Angeles, he and his wife now. The Tennessee three kicked out, two of them kicked out, then reinstated.
I
Could
did
it be
go
a-
to both of those in person when they both got sworn back
You
in.
did.
Now, I went to Memphis to see Justin Pearson, and I went to Nashville to see Justin Jones. And it's just so hard being a Democrat in this area that
Yeah.
anytime you can fill
Right.
your cup with that joy, you have to go.
Sure.
You really do.
Yeah.
Even though our state capital makes it so hard for constituents to
Well, that's what
get up
scares
there.
them to death, Leanne. Is there really are more Democrats than Republicans, and we've just been quiet and we've set back. Um, you know, Bill Lee's proposing background checks, which is a joke. It's never going to pass.
Right.
Yeah,
At least you can say, well, there it is. I put it out there, and they turned it down. Okay, that's great. Stop the dog and pony show.
Well, all you have
Okay.
to do is go to the NRA website or the Tennessee Firearms website, and it's amazing to me what they say. They're really saying it's okay to kill our kids,
Sure.
and because you need to have the right to carry a weapon, even if it is an AK-15.
Whatever.
That is absolutely, as Justin Jones is saying, that is morally insane.
It's
And
it's crazy.
I just want to point out that Bill Lee's bill that he's proposed that is probably going to get passed next week is this. He wants an armored SRO at every school, every private school, every charter school, every faith-based school,
Right.
and every public school.
Now you say armored
Well,
or armed.
armed.
Well, I
but
thought we already
it's-
had that though. The SRO in the county.
Every school doesn't have one, and now we're
Okay,
going to lock
okay.
all doors too, and they're going to have a group of people that are going to come around, cops, randomly pulling on doors at schools.
Well, but
after
they
your
did that. I
kids.
mean, yeah, but the shooter in Nashville just simply shot the glass out of the window.
I
We've reached the
understand.
point. And let me say this: I did talk to a good friend of ours that sits on the county school board, Claire Maxwell. And at the time, and I said this, by the way, I hope everyone had a great Easter, too. We had to throw that in the middle of that, which I say we had to. I mean, we all had a great time. And I trust all the rest of you did as well. But at the time, the superintendent of Rutherford County Schools didn't want them commenting on this right now. And I understand that because you can't disclose what measures you might take. And Rutherford County Schools is going through a whole lot of changes right now, and they didn't want to. I got the opinion that there's a lot going on there, and they really weren't prepared to publicly talk about it yet. And I think they will, and that's what Claire's always been very open about that. So I appreciate that in her, and at some point we will get with her. But I'm afraid we're going to have to start looking at these schools like they're prisons. We're going to have solid steel doors.
That
I'm
is
sorry.
what they are going to. That's what they're trying to implement. That's exactly what's happening. I don't want my schools to look like prison. I don't want guns
I
to be
agree.
normalized
Okay.
for my children. I don't want carrying a weapon in the hall of my school to be something that my child has to see every day.
True.
They look
Okay.
like prisons from the outside, and they will become like prisons on the inside. This weaponization of every aspect of our life is morally wrong.
Well, and the proof is in when President Obama or was President Bush is the one that relaxed the restriction, I believe. And the proof is in the pudding. The numbers are there. They weren't. It wasn't happening.
It is the guns.
That's right.
You guys, it is the guns.
That it is.
Yeah.
Carolyn?
And, you know, and not only that, but they're also talking about arming teachers.
Oh, yeah.
That is frightening, to
You
say
know,
the very least.
I went back over, and I came from back in the last century when I graduated. And I can only think of maybe 2 teachers that I would have been comfortable with them having a firearm.
Yeah. And, I mean, teachers
And they
go
were both
through-
men. Oh, most of my teachers back in those days, most
Uh-huh.
were females. And but I know I understand the 70s were a different time than they are here, you know. But go ahead,
But
Carolyn, I'm sorry.
teachers go through mental health crises as well.
Sure.
You know, what happens when they fear for their life or feel
Right.
threatened in a certain way? It is just not. It's just not a good idea. I mean, when you've got, or what happens if, God forbid, a kid actually gets a hold of that gun? Now, you've got a 6-year-old who was actually able to bring a gun to school,
Right.
point it at the teacher, and use it.
Pull the trigger.
Right.
You
Yes.
know, if they can do that at 6, what happens to the middle school kid, the high school kid?
12, 13,
the-
14.
You know,
Yeah.
I just, that is frightening.
Yes, it
period.
is. Okay. Leanne is here. Carolyn is here. We welcome your calls. We welcome your comments. I'm the only broadcast on this entire station that they run a disclaimer for before they put me on the air, and I'm mighty proud of that. But for right now, my name is Edwin Lee Raymer, and yes, I'm still a private investigator. We're going to have a good one tonight. Welcome aboard.
This is the Edwin Lee Raymer Show with your host, Ed Raymer, on your good neighbor station, News Radio, WGNS Murfreesboro.
Yes, and that is a little stiff upper lip from AC/DC for you. And this show is the Edwin Lee Raymer Show, and I'm your host, Ed Raymer. The show is produced at studios at WGNS, AM 1450, 100.5, 101.9 FM, right here in the heart of the great volunteer state, Murfreesboro, Tennessee. You can reach us tonight with your questions, comments, or thoughts at 615-893-1450. That's 615-893-1450. And you can also send us a text at that number, and Jackson will be glad to read it over the air for you. For those of you who do not wish to be heard live, or you may not want to just go on the air, maybe a little bit too shy, and that's fine. Now, you can also listen to us via the internet at WGNSradio.com or News Radio WGNS. We're on YouTube. And let me say this, too. We're not on Facebook Live anymore, but we do YouTube. All of our shows are on there. So many other shows with WGNS. I notice they're making the grade now. And they'll be there for your convenience. And, of course, my show is done on a podcast. You can listen through the week, listen from work. If you download the WGNS app and take WGNS with you wherever you go, listen whenever you wish. And please look up Simplicity with Angela Bingham. She's a fine lady, and she's doing a great job. She's on every Sunday at 6, a couple hours before I get here. And I got to listen to just a little of her broadcast tonight. But she's been at this for a while, and she's just a fine person. I believe y'all know her, don't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. She's a good gal. And Jackson's on the board. It's been a heck of a 2 weeks, ladies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, as usual, people always, what are you going to talk about? I don't know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to let these two ladies take it over, and Carolyn knows this better probably than Leanne. Leanne probably does. Ladies, what do you want to talk about first? Because we've got there's the list. I mean, and that's just, and it's even coming down to local politics now.
Yeah,
Because of what happened to Hope Oliver the other night. Go ahead.
Well, I just become aware of that incident, but I wanted to go back to the state level because this bill, I'm one of those freaky people who likes to read the bills completely. I wish our legislators would do that, but
Be a good idea.
yeah, but it's really hard to read, and I know why people give up. I really do, but please read the bills, people. But this bill that Bill Lee has proposed, it includes a $30 million for statewide Homeland Security expansion. That is these SRO officers.
Right.
And I don't know why we can always find money for guns, but we can't pay for free lunches for everybody.
I know. Yeah, if you can find money,
it's minimal.
I know.
And when you read the bill, these teachers and schools have to do so many things. I don't know when they're going to teach your child, because they have to do all these drills, all this documentation. We have to prove that we've done it, and then we have to have somebody come around and look and make sure we've done it and send in all these reports. So our teachers aren't even teaching.
Well, they've been that way for years, Leanne. They've been teaching them how to take a test.
Well,
we've had that criticism for years.
Yeah.
You know, go ahead.
They're also going to add $8 million for school counselors. Now, we've needed school counselors in every school since the beginning of time, probably public education anyway.
Yeah, right.
But we can't find teachers, we can't find substitutes, and we think we're going to find 400, 500 counselors.
Right.
Right.
People are not moving to Tennessee to practice behavioral counseling when the legislature's already told them what they can diagnose or what their job is. I mean, all these things that are proposed in the governor's bill look good on paper, but nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to change, except we're going to get more guns in our schools.
Right. Yeah.
And I vehemently oppose more guns in our schools.
Okay. Carol?
Ditto on bullshit.
This not one part of this legislation addresses the real issue of a common sense gun reform.
Well, the one thing you
idea.
said, if you can get money to get guns, you can get money to pay for free lunch. I've been for this. Feed them.
You can
Feed 'em.
Right. More teachers, smaller classroom sizes.
Yes.
Right.
You know,
You know.
more quality education.
Right.
Versus having those charter schools come in because we can't do our jobs as teachers in the public
Well, we
schools.
know where Mr. Lee stands on that.
Absolutely.
Well, and they're
Yeah.
coming. The school board meeting is April 25th at 5:30. If anybody's interested in coming and seeing it or signing up to speak against American Classical, this is just the Hillsdale School.
Right.
They've just renamed the package,
Mm-hmm.
and
Right.
it is a religious parochial school, which I cannot stand when my tax dollars are paying for religious schools.
Because it's not
There
supposed
is
to be
a
that way.
separation of
There
church
is a
and state.
separation of church and state.
Well, not in
Not-
Tennessee.
yeah.
You know, and Bill Lee's just making that more and more obvious that he wants a theocracy because we find money to give to pro-life pregnancy crisis centers, but we won't give it to any real legitimate female health care centers.
Sure.
These people
Yeah.
don't even have medical degrees. They just sit up there and dress like doctors and pretend. They take you into like a doctor's office and they proselytize to these girls.
Right.
And my money is paying for that. And I don't think my tax dollars should pay to scare young women.
Right. Okay. Now, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Both these ladies have been good enough to come up here on a Sunday night. I thank them both once again. I appreciate you. And we're going to go to our first series of breaks, Jackson, if you will. And I'll tell you what I want you to do. I've got a friend of mine, and she's got some properties up for sale. And her name is, hang on just a minute. I can't, everybody's right. Okay, hold on. My phone's jammed up. Hang on a minute. Okay. Celia Snodgrass has got some properties for you for sale, and they're going to be for sale. These are good homes, okay? This is good stuff, and they are going to be selling these with owner terms, okay? And we're talking about if you're looking at, if you're tired of wasting your money on rent, ready to be a homeowner, call Celia. She is a licensed real estate agent with Benchmark Realty. Now, you can reach her at 948-6367. That's 615-948-6367. And these are for first-time homeowners with low down payments, reasonable seller financing. This could be a good opportunity for you. That's Celia Snodgrass, 615-948-6367. Back with you right after this. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or aa.org.
Hey, this is Ed, everybody. Want to tell you about a sponsor of ours. We've got Complete Yard Care. Their slogan is, we do it all. Low maintenance landscape design, retaining walls, tree removal, stump grinding, lawns cut, mulching, landscaping. Now you can reach them at 615-785-0384. Or you can look them up on the web at CompleteYardCareTN.com. They have a 5-star ranking on Google. That's Complete Yard Care. We do it all. Go to J. Mullins Jewelers and check out their collection of reactor watches. They're located at 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And also custom-made jewelry. If you want it, they can make it for you. Also gifts for any and all occasions. Weddings, graduations, family reunions, anniversaries, all of it. That's J. Mullins Jewelers, 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Are you tired of wasting money on rent and ready to be a homeowner? Celia Snodgrass can help you do just that. She's a licensed real estate agent at Benchmark Realty who's been helping Rutherford County families find their dream homes for the past 15 years. She's also enabled many individual real estate investors to achieve financial success in Tennessee's booming real estate market. Currently, one of those investors is now selling some of those properties to qualified first-time homeowners with low down payments and reasonable seller financing. So if you're wanting to buy a home, find out more by calling Celia at 615-948-6367. All right, Ed Raymer with you. We're back. Leanne Allen Carnac, Carolyn Cox is here. Okay. Now, let's talk what we were just talking about, ladies, about the open mics and the tape recording that was going on. What happened there?
I think you're talking about the linked audio of the people in the GOP caucus who voted no for Gloria Johnson's expulsion. That's not what the GOP had counted on.
Right.
And so I mean, you can hear them calling each other by name and saying, right. Do you think this makes us look bad? Well, yes, it makes you look bad.
Oh, they were doing that all right.
They were mad at each other.
Right.
Because who's going to get blamed for this? And that's just, I mean, the audio tape is just further proof of how these people behave and how it's not about constituents. It's not about schools. It's not about, saving the kids in foster care. It's about power and greed and who can build the state out of the most money, like the current Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton, I'm sure you all have seen all the scandal that's going on around him.
Well, not only that, he's living in Nashville, but he's paid very handsomely for his quote-unquote commute
yes.
back and forth
Oh,
from,
yes.
is it Crossville? That's his area, I
Crossville.
believe.
Yes.
And not to mention there's some other extracurricular activity going on.
Yes,
And,
they have identified that person
You've
now.
got a call for me, Jax. Jax, you got a call. I think it's, hello, caller, you're on the air, please.
How's it going, Mr. Raymer?
Hey, Jeff, how are you? I got your messages this week, and I'm sorry I've been a little busy.
Oh, it's all right. I know you be. I just wanted to mention how y'all been talking a lot of things. I just want to say a few things first of all. The Tennessee three, well, two of them got expelled, got put back in. I just want to let y'all know, two of them, Rudd and Stevens, voted to expel all three of them. That's how they voted. He's in Tennessee last week.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Mark Sparks voted to expel Jones and is it Pearson? Yeah, Pearson. He kept the woman. He didn't want to expel
Kept
her.
Gloria?
Johnson.
He
Kept Gloria.
Kept the woman. The Terry guy, the other guy, I don't know, there's five. But Terry, he voted to expel the Jones guy and didn't vote on Pearson or Johnson.
Right.
Okay.
That's how they voted. It was in last week. Tennessee, they had a whole big list of them.
Yeah,
everybody voted.
And Charlie Baum.
Everybody voted.
Charlie Baum. Okay.
Charlie Baum was the only one that voted no on all
Baum voted
three.
no on every one of them.
Yes.
No, and see, this is how I feel about it. It's either they all go or they all stay. They just passed.
Well, that's not how it works on Capitol Hill.
I know, but I'm just
This
saying,
was a big mistake because they
Well, I
wanted it to
agree.
be that way.
It makes our state look like we're a bunch of
Hillbilly.
hillbilly hicks, and all this stuff. And don't tell me it's not racial, please.
Right.
Yeah, well, that,
Don't tell me it's,
That's so obvious.
Yeah.
When you keep the two guys that were the youngest two guys in there, 27 and 28, and you keep the woman by one vote. I mean,
Yeah.
come on. What do you think? I'm born on a turnip truck? Come on. I think I was born on a turnip truck yesterday. But come on, Mike Sparks. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm that dumb.
okay.
I'm this, and also the guns thing. No, I don't want them in schools with teachers because some kid's gonna pull it out.
That's
not know what
exactly
it is,
right.
Somebody. And also about the SROs, ma'am. I'm sorry, that's the way it is today.
Okay. Jeff,
I don't want my kids to have a prison school.
Guys, we show. Thank you.
Jeff, thank you so much for your support of this broadcast. We appreciate it. We have another caller. Caller, you are on the air now. Go.
Okay. I know I'm on the opposite side of the fence from you almost all the time, but I've got a question.
That's all right.
Now, Nancy Pelosi ran Congress for years. Republicans never got to pass a bill. Republicans never got to add amendments to bills or propose bills. They were handed bills that said vote on them. Now, what would Nancy Pelosi have done if one of those Republicans had grabbed a bullhorn and got up in front of the crowd and started yelling?
I think she would have taken a logical way out of it because
I
Nancy
think
Pelosi
she
knows
would
her
have
way.
taken-
Nancy Pelosi knows her way around Washington,
No,
D.C., my
Nancy
friend.
Pelosi is just like all the other politicians, Republicans and Democrats alike. Nancy Pelosi she put people on committees that she wanted on committees that would vote the way she wanted them to vote. That's just like that January 6th stuff. All these protesters that burned police buildings, nothing ever happened to them, but the ones that went to the Capitol, even if some of them were guilty of stuff.
Which police
Some of
buildings
them
were
weren't.
burned? Which police buildings were burned?
I'm not talking. Hey, you didn't watch all those protests a couple of years ago where they set police cars on fire? I'm not talking
Where at?
Tennessee. I'm talking
Well-
about this whole country.
The whole country?
Yes.
Okay, where at in specifically?
Well, Seattle, Washington, Oregon, hey, New York. You know, I mean, if you're going
Well,
to,
I guess
all
my question would
politicians
be-
are looking out for politicians.
Well, I know, but if just because you're saying both sides are doing it, it doesn't make it right, and that's what we're advocating for is a change to make our system fair and equitable and
Well, I'm
justice
all for
all.
making things fair and equitable, but I'm telling you, it doesn't make any difference who gets there. After they've been there a while, they're going to be under the control of whoever is in charge.
Well, then why are you voting Republican then?
Hey, I voted for Democrats at times. I'd rather vote for Republicans because Republicans don't do some of the dumb things. They don't raise taxes every time you turn around. They don't.
Well, no,
send-
let's see here. Locally, we've got taxes that have gone through the roof, and this has been here in our county. The Republicans have been in charge for the last 20 years.
Hey, my
Hey,
taxes,
tell me about
taxes are cheaper than almost everybody's in the country. You go to any of these states.
Yeah, and Bill Lee is holding back federal money that's set aside to help families in need, to help families on Medicaid, Medicare, the whole 9 yards. There was something else. It was something about an aid to children. He's holding back money on that. He doesn't help anybody. All he wants to do is put private schools in business.
Hey,
That's
I'm
all
gonna
he's
tell you.
talking about,
Hey,
man.
listen, I taught school for 39 years.
Public
okay?
school?
Public school.
What are you
And I'm gonna
complaining
tell you
about
something.
then?
No, you gonna let me answer?
Go ahead.
I taught for 39 years. The biggest problem in education while I was teaching was the Tennessee Education Association. They cost me thousands of dollars because when the state offered to pay for my retirement every year, they turned it down. They said they wanted a raise. Well, we got a little old piddly raise. The state was going to pay my retirement every month for the rest of my career. Now,
So
and
you're
that
not
was-
drawing a retirement now?
I'm drawing retirement, yeah. But I paid all of it in myself. Teachers pay their own retirement.
Well, they don't have any collective bargaining rights now under
Well,
Republican control. That's all been
they-
stripped away from them.
Hey,
How you feel
no,
about that?
Now listen, the TEA does not want teachers to get benefits that can't be charged against them. If the
Wait a minute, I thought that was the Department of Education, the United States government. Department of
sir.
Education, y'all always want to do away with.
The Tennessee Department of Education runs the Tennessee education system.
Well,
okay?
we're told by the Republicans that they want to get rid of the Department of Education on a federal level.
Well, hey, I'm all for that.
You're all for that. Yeah, defund them, too.
Anything that the federal government does that you can get rid of, most of it would be a benefit.
Well, then you need to. Will you send your retirement money back because it's costing us? And
No, no, because I paid
Would you
my
do
own
that?
retirement. They took retirement out of my check every month I worked.
But you're probably getting Social Security.
No, ma'am. I'm getting
I don't have a
Social
problem with that. He's
Security,
paid into
but
Social Security.
But, hey, let me tell you now, I would give up my Social Security if they hadn't taken it out of my check. I could have taken what they took out of my check every month and put it with other stuff I was doing,
if you
and I
had
would
been
have more money.
if you had been disciplined enough to do it, sir, I thank
I'm
you.
disciplined enough to
I
do it.
appreciate your call. I appreciate your opinion. I truly do. I know
Okay,
you think I
but-
don't, but hey, vote Democrat. Thank you, sir.
Hey, that'll be the day that they put me in the ground.
Well,
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay, Carolyn.
Not sure if he is aware of it or not, but the county commission is voting to raise county taxes by 12%
Again?
again.
Again.
Okay. Right. Okay.
And, they're mostly Republican.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You heard what Jeff Neal said. The people down there at the State House. This is now coming. What happened to Hope Oliver the other night? This is now coming home to roost. The racism thing right here in Rutherford County. It's happening. And I don't know about Leanne, you know this stuff better than I do, okay? I did not realize, and I've told Miss Carolyn this many times, I never realized that there was such a race problem in this country. I never did. Because in our house where you was raised, you walked the line, man. You didn't use certain language around my mom and dad, or you got your little Buster Browns busted. We just never, we were never exposed to it. We thank the good Lord we never were.
And we were completely taught a whitewashed version of history. So,
True. Yeah.
So the first thing I would tell people who feel that way, that they don't realize what racism really is.
Right.
You have to go back to 1619 when the first slaves were brought here.
I agree.
On
Right.
the White Lion.
Yeah.
And this was before the Mayflower came, you guys.
Sure.
Slavery is what built America. It is
They
totally.
built the White House.
They built everything. They
Built everything.
They even built capitalism, and that's sad because
Sure.
capitalism totally works against. Capitalism depends on someone you can exploit.
Well, see, I'm in Masonic Lodge, and they give the Masons credit for building Washington, D.C. The whole truth of the matter is they had to have labor.
Right.
And that labor was slave labor. Carolyn.
And you know, you and I, we have had that conversation quite a bit, and it's
Yes.
just when you said that, I'm like, really, Ed?
Well, I'm sorry.
I mean, because you know, I have seen it all of my life
Oh,
in
yeah.
one way or the
Right.
other. But to me, you know, it was very covert things that individuals did. They kind of did it undercover, under
Right.
the radar. But Trump allowed
He's brought them out of the
those
woodwork.
individuals
Oh, yeah.
to come from under the rock in which they lived.
To use the
and
language
to
that
be
they
just
use.
as open about all of their issues. I mean, you know, and we talk about, you know, when we talk about the three and things and people doing things out of order, I know and I understand exactly why the Justins did what they did, and I can
Sure.
appreciate Johnson standing with them because we don't always get that.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing that is so interesting, if those individuals, and I know we talk about white privilege all the time,
Right.
Johnson had an opportunity. She utilized her white privilege to stand with her brothers and
did.
to truly be able to call it what it was. But the thing that is amazing to me is that this issue that is so important for our children. I mean, I've got a granddaughter that I'm sitting here thinking, oh, okay, now how long? do
What's
I
it
need to
gonna be
work?
like? Yeah,
And,
before
you
she
know,
starts
maybe I
school.
could, you know, and
Right.
you hate to try to homeschool her, but I'm thinking, you know, maybe that's a better idea.
I know.
But at the same time, you know, those guys were out of order. But to present a bill to talk about, you know, if we can't kill a person by lethal injection, then let's just go ahead and
Hang 'em.
and shoot them. And
Yeah,
then
firing
to have
squad or
then,
hanging.
yeah, then to
Yeah.
have the representative come and go, well, can we add lynching to that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, and he's
Yeah.
been taken off his committee, and he's filing a protest to get back on.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
let
Paul
him
Sherrill.
file. Good for him.
Paul
know.
Sherrill was the lynching
Yeah. But-
representative.
But that
Well,
wasn't
that's
out
good
of
for
order.
him.
oh,
you
that
know?
wasn't out of order, I know.
Yeah. And, you know,
Well, can we talk about something that is out of order? And that is our Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton.
yeah, poor guy.
I mean, a
You
lot
know,
of
what
people.
is it about the speakership that turns these people?
Because they can.
Okay.
Go
Leanne?
ahead.
Well, I want people to be aware that Cameron Sexton is the person who really spearheaded, well, he and William Lambert really spearheaded the ousting of the Tennessee Three.
Right.
And, you know, people have been following Cameron Sexton for a long time because he's not, he's so slick you can almost feel the scales. You know? And, so, but he's really this
Okay.
is what happens when you get in
Excuse me.
power for a long time is
Right.
you really learn how to
Yeah.
work the system.
Sure.
And that's what he has been doing at least for the past 2 years. He bought a home in Nashville where he lives year round because that's where his spouse lives and his children go to school. And it was really done in a really underhanded. He created a ghost corporation, never signed any of the
Right.
paperwork, and it's just really crazy. But there's a lot of this information out there online right now. Even and all the documents are provided. This is true, you know, for sure.
Sure. Sure.
I'm not going to give away his mistress's name, but if you want to look it up, it's out there. But so he bought this house fraudulently, and he's still been claiming that he's driving back and forth to Crossville all the time. So in addition to buying this huge $600,000 house in Nashville, where Karma, actually Justin Jones, is his representative, I want you to know. But
Good for him.
yeah, but so he's
got a good
he's-
representative.
Yeah, he's built the taxpayers out of over $100,000 in the last 2 years. He hasn't paid his property taxes in Crossville, and his neighbors say he's maybe there 4 times a year on a holiday because you can always tell because he has an armored guard with him at all times.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
people always I say, is it, oh, there's nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
Well, there is absolutely something you can do about this.
Right.
Because he really needs to resign. And then
Yes.
he needs to be arrested for fraud. But you can call Bill Lee's office any time of day or night and leave a message. Bill
Okay.
Lee's number is 615-741-2001. And I would encourage everyone to put it in your phone because you can do this while you're stopped at a stoplight.
Sure you can. Sure.
You will press 1 because they're overwhelmed with calls right now, as you can imagine. Press 1 and just say, I am a constituent of Tennessee and I'm calling for Cameron Sexton's resignation.
Right.
And you can do that every single day.
Sure.
You can also call your reps and let them know that you want them to call for Cameron Sexton's resignation. And your reps are Mike Sparks, Tim Rudd, Brian Ferry, Charlie Baum. Who's the other one? Robert Stevenson.
Robert Stevenson is
Is
he
in
one?
Smyrna.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah. Okay.
So I can get you those lists and we can put them on the website.
You
or
know, I
whatever.
want to say this, and I don't know how. I'm going to say, but you're on. Both of you are on Facebook.
Yes.
If you want to get some people, ladies especially, where you can get firsthand knowledge of what's going on, talk to these people. Let me tell you, she's got a stack of papers up here. I'd have to have a lawyer to go through. I just got the voice. I just talk.
Tennessee politics happens on Twitter. I'm sorry, that's just where
Right.
if you're
Yeah.
not on Twitter, you're missing a lot of it. But if you want to follow the Holler, Tennessee Holler is a great website, and they're
Okay.
on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
Right.
But for the story about Cameron Sexton, I'm going to tell you the 3 people to follow right now.
Okay.
One is Judd Legum, Juddlegum. He writes for a magazine called Popular Information, just like it sounds. Ann Farrell Quillen, Quillen. She has run against Cameron Sexton several times in his own district, and she has been carrying this banner for a long time.
Okay.
And she is at AFQUILLEN. And the last one is Brian Manukin. He is the one who really threw the first. Well, Cameron has been throwing darts his whole
A good
career.
friend of mine, Dave, turned me on to this.
To
And
Brian
Dave, if you're
Manukin.
listening, I hope you are.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support.
So I encourage you to support those. Go follow those people on all their media. And we just really have to pay attention. And politics happens a lot faster than we can print a newspaper. So people who like, oh, I don't want to do Twitter. Well, please do Twitter and please do social media other than Facebook and texting, because
Okay.
staying informed is 90% of the why we get out the vote.
You know, the social media is here to stay.
Yes.
There's going to be some bumps and humps in the road, but it's here. It's not coming.
Mm-hmm.
It's here. Carolyn?
Right. And just talking about staying informed, that's one of the things that I try so hard to keep people informed. We oftentimes don't pay attention until something is sitting right at our doorstep.
Right. Yeah.
Or we are busy being reactive versus proactive.
I agree.
Now, when
Yeah.
it comes to being proactive, on tomorrow, Monday, 5 p.m., the full Tennessee House of Representatives will vote on HB 1202, allowing teachers and school staff in Tennessee K through 12 public schools to carry firearms.
Yeah.
That vote is tomorrow. We have got to make sure that we call our representatives and ask them to vote no. And, and oftentimes people be like, well, does it really matter? I mean, not to say that Charlie Baum has done anything super favorable to a whole lot of folk that look like me, but the one thing that he did express was the fact that his constituents did not want that to happen. And
Right.
I can respect him for that.
Sure.
We have
Sure.
got to apply the pressure. And
Sure.
until we start to applying pressure and until we start to show up, they're going to continue to do what they've always done.
Right. And I want to go
and-
ahead, Leanne.
Their phones and emails are open 24/7.
Yes.
You
Okay.
don't have to wait till you think you're going to catch them on Capitol Hill. Call. They have to count those clicks, and they have to record who says no, who says yes on a bill. So the best thing you can do is call or email and know your bill number. And Carolyn just gave it to you, 1202?
1202.
Yes. And people, you can watch all of this live every day on Tennessee.gov website.
Right.
So if you're interested in a particular bill, you can look it up and find out when it's going to be heard.
Now
So-
let me say this too. Before we ever got up here, all this week, I had debated on calling Gloria Johnson, because Gloria had joined me about a month ago. Okay, by phone. She was on the
Yeah,
way
she
down
was
from
here with the
Knoxville.
Obama mamas.
And yes, she was. And I debated calling the Justins, but I figured they had been so busy. I wanted to give them this week, give them a Sunday just to relax. Okay.
Oh, well, Justin Pearson went and preached on Sunday. It was pretty fierce.
I'll bet it was. But we appreciate their efforts. We appreciate what they've had to go through. It was by the time they're going to put them back in. I said, what are you people doing? Besides them, of course, we all know what they were doing. They're making a statement.
No, they were
And there's
speaking
so
for their
much of-
constituents.
Yeah, sure.
They weren't having a temper tantrum.
No, I know a lot of people, and I know a lot of them don't feel that way. I mean, and I'm not talking about people where I just stay in my own little circle of Democrats. I don't mean that. I'm talking about regular people that say, that this is not really kosher.
Well, we've kept a child molester in there. That wasn't enough.
Right.
We've had 2 House representatives pee in each other's chairs. We've had people physically fight. We've
Right.
had people's phones taken away. We've had their microphones turned off. There has been a lot more bad decorum than speaking up for your constituents and the children of your kids. These people are trying to save our kids. We don't want our kids in prison, and it is the guns.
Right.
And this is the only way they can get attention, because Cameron Sexton repeatedly cuts off the debate.
Right.
I've sat up there and tried to watch it. He shuts it down every single time. They do voice votes where they don't even make a representative say yay or nay, and the chairman he calls whatever he wants it to be.
Sure. And they said, too, they had been shunned at times.
Yes.
I mean, what type of individual you have to be that? Are you that scared of these 2 fellas?
They are, because Justin Jones has been around for decades, you guys.
Right.
He led the Ida B. Wells Legislative Plaza, the 60-day camp out where they got really scared, and he's been speaking up for constituent and his people for a long time, and I consider me his people.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And I mean this isn't anything new. We've seen this over and over and over again where history is concerned. When you've got a person of color that is going to stand up,
And that's exactly what it is.
then they have to find a way to shut you down.
Right.
And and my fear is that the Lord simply covers these young men, because back in the day, they just shoot you and move on.
Let me tell you something,
And with all
folks.
of the guns they got going on, I mean,
Yeah.
that's super easy to do now.
And let me tell you something, folks. This lady here, Carolyn, let me tell you, she's not, there's a black lady. She's crybaby. She's crying. She ain't no crybaby,
No.
okay?
And she runs for office.
And she runs for office. She's put her name on a ballot. She's going to probably again,
Yes,
more than likely. Leanne, have you ever run for anything?
Never.
should.
I never have either.
And never will.
Yeah, I probably won't. I
I've
wouldn't
seen
go
it. I've
very
seen
far.
it. And
yeah,
and that's why I'm here to support women like Carolyn.
exactly.
And anybody who is willing to put their name on a ballot.
Well, and
because
that's what I've
we're
said.
missing.
If you want to make a
That's
difference, put
what
your
we're
name on a
missing.
ballot. Hey, do it. And this lady's had the spine to do it. And a lot of
Exactly.
people, government's broken. You can't do anything with that. I don't buy that.
Yeah,
I don't
apathy's
buy it.
killing us right now, and it's going to
Yeah.
kill our kids if we don't get active.
It is going to continue to kill our kids.
Well,
Yes,
and
we're
I've
doing
told
that.
people, and I know, ladies, this sounds self-serving. If you want to listen to another point of view, tune me in, please. Because up here, this is all you're going to. Look, I'm sorry to tell you, folks, I'm it. I'm the end of the line for you here in Rutherford County. That's it. I've got a lady listening in Chattanooga tonight. Carol Ann, thank you. I've got Pete listening. I've got Larry listening. I shouldn't start naming names. I get in trouble. But we've got a band of people. Most of them will never call. You'll never know they're there. But I'll run into them this week. I'll guarantee you. Hey, I heard that show Sunday night. Y'all really got with it, yeah. And let me tell you something, folks. You ain't heard nothing until you're off the air with these two. Then you get the real story. And it's not a bunch of gossip either.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Leanne.
there is a bill coming out that Bob Freeman and Senator Heidi Campbell are running, and it is a genuine red flag bill, and it has made it to the delayed committee's bills. So we'll see where that goes. But
Okay.
Both of them are Democrats, so it probably won't go far.
Okay.
But it is House Bill 1574, Senate Bill 1564.
Okay. Now, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to go to our last series of breaks before we get Bill Wilson in here, Mr. Murfreesboro. And I want you to call Celia Snodgrass. Celia is a licensed real estate agent at Benchmark Realty. She's been in the real estate business the last 15 years. Now, she has enabled many individual real estate investors and helped them to achieve financial success in today's real estate market. Now, currently one of her investors is now selling some of these properties to qualified first-time homeowners with low down payments and reasonable seller financing. It's the way to go, folks. So give Celia a call if you get a chance. If you're wanting to buy a home, these are nice homes too. 615-948-6367. That's 615-948-6367. Celia Snodgrass. We'll be right back with you right after this. Hello, everyone. It's Ed with Private Investigations in Middle Tennessee. You know, if you just need someone checked out on a background check, tag them a run, or if you need someone full-fledged to follow, give us a call. You can reach me at 615-390-7219. That's 615-390-7219. Or check out our website at piofmt.com. That's piofmt.com.
I felt so alone, scared, angry, full of self-pity. I just wanted to die, so I took another drink. Then I heard about AA and went to my first meeting. The people there talked about those same feelings. I was no longer alone. They gave me help to stop drinking and hope to start living. Alcoholics Anonymous, it works. Look us up. Check your phone book, newspaper, or aa.org.
Go to J. Mullins Jewelers and check out their collection of reactor watches. They're located at 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. And also custom-made jewelry. If you want it, they can make it for you. Also gifts for any and all occasions. Weddings, graduations, family reunions, anniversaries, all of it. That's J. Mullins Jewelers, 352 West Northfield Boulevard right here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Are you tired of wasting money on rent and ready to be a homeowner? Celia Snodgrass can help you do just that. She's a licensed real estate agent at Benchmark Realty who's been helping Rutherford County families find their dream homes for the past 15 years. She's also enabled many individual real estate investors to achieve financial success in Tennessee's booming real estate market. Currently, one of those investors is now selling some of those properties to qualified first-time homeowners with low down payments and reasonable seller financing. So if you're wanting to buy a home, find out more by calling Celia at 615-948-6367. All right, and we are back right now, and I think we may have a caller calling in right now. Leanne Allen Carnack is with us, and Carolyn Cox is here. They've been good enough to come up here on a Sunday night. We have a caller, Jackson. Go right ahead. Caller, you are on the air. Go ahead.
Good evening. This is Commissioner Hope Oliver. How are you?
Hope, how are you doing? We've batted your name around here a little bit tonight.
I know. I've been listening. Quite interesting conversation.
Thank you. We appreciate it. What's on your mind, dear?
Kind of wanted to respond to your caller that said that Republicans don't raise taxes.
Yeah.
And just to say that the commission is going to have to raise taxes because we don't have enough revenue in the county.
Sure.
Primarily due to lack of foresight from previous commissions, but mostly because the our state legislators have kind of tied our hands to where pretty much the only thing we have left to do is raise taxes, which I find quite interesting because there are some other things that have been recommended, but our state legislators, our state representatives for our county have not really been on board with the commission and the alternatives that we have to raising taxes. So I think citizens need to think about that when they go to the polls. Think about who they're voting in and if they're have their best interest at heart, not just because they have an R or a D beside their name, but do they have their best interest in heart? The gentleman was saying he was against any kind of federal programs. Well, Social Security is a major federal program, and I'm sure if citizens were threatened with losing their Social Security, that would be a challenge as well. It seems like the only federal programs that they're against are those that help those that are marginalized, as opposed to, they'd rather shoot down Medicaid, but not
Or
Medicare
take those
or Social
PPP
Security.
loans.
I mean, those are all federal programs. So it's kind of like they're picking and choosing based on who it's going to harm. And it's usually your marginalized and your black and brown citizens. So that's something to consider, because even when those things happen, it eventually hurts everyone.
Hope, I want to tell you something. I'm glad you called in. Thank you so much. Call me anytime. But I'm going to tell you, and I went back last night and I watched the county commission meeting. Honey, you go right ahead and just keep being you. Okay?
I can't be nobody else, Ed.
Yeah, you go right ahead and keep being you.
So,
Ladies,
but
go ahead.
Hope, can you kind of share with us the incident that took place, the proposal that you made, how it was presented, and exactly what happened, to give the listeners some context of how that all went down?
Please do.
It's going to sound
Well,
familiar.
basically what happened, Governor Lee did a proposal for just increased protection, basically, when it comes to gun sales to persons that may be of harm to themselves or to the community, which, oddly enough, I feel like I could get on board with that. I spoke with some constituents, and they were interested because Governor Lee was requesting legislation, which the legislature has just been quiet, very quiet when it comes to that, and asked if I would, present something to the commission. Maybe the commission can, speak to our legislative reps and maybe present something. And so that's what I did. I basically requested to amend the agenda, to add it. I was told to present it in other business, which they took a vote to suspend the rules and a unanimous vote to allow me to speak. And I told them it was a resolution in support of, Governor Lee, but once they actually heard everything that was in the resolution, you could pretty much hear crickets. And and then I was told I was out of order when I actually did everything in order that I was asked to do.
That's the part I'm talking about. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I wasn't out of order. Honestly, my colleague that spoke was out of order because there was not a second to my motion. Discussion should have stopped then.
That's
I mean,
true.
I'm a parliamentarian, and I know how parliamentary procedures go. And so, but I just let him talk, and I said what I had to say. But nonetheless, the motion died, and so there we are. I just kind of felt like we could have done something to kind of have a show of support, because our citizens are crying out for us to do something, acknowledge some kind of way where we're looking at the safety of our children. You'll have persons that say they're against abortion, but what about when the kids get here? What you going to do about the kids? How you going to protect the kids? How you going to feed the kids? How you going to give them health care? Things of that nature. What about caring about them once they get here? And I just felt like our citizens are crying out for legislators to do something, some show of support for our children.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. And
Totally.
You're exactly right. And we've had this discussion before. But look at the State House. Our kids are even starting to cry out now. I mean, they're
Right.
raising Cain about this. These are teenagers that are they're not even able to vote yet. But I got some bad news for you folks. They're going to be at voting age at 18. And
That's
are they
true.
registering, Leah? Are they registering kids in high school now? Or do you get
No,
registered when you get your driver's license or something like
You
that?
can opt to, and there
Right.
is a great place to register to vote, vote411.org.
Okay.
And there is a place on the state website now where you can register at 17, and it will send you a reminder when you turn 18
To-
to actually do the
yeah.
last step of it.
Yep, there's so much that we can do in regards to voter
Sure.
registration.
That's true.
And now Rutherford County, the election commission they go to the high schools. But I'm going to be honest. If you high school kids are not super excited about seeing some old fart, pardon my language.
Okay. Yeah.
They're not they're not listening to you. But you know,
Right.
I think that if we did it in such a way that you brought people in that they could actually relate to, that they could actually have a
Right.
conversation with, that could speak on their level of understanding, something tells me that we could get a whole lot more done. But we do it the way that we do, so that we don't necessarily have to get the numbers that we need.
Yeah,
Right.
and I've
I think,
tried to put
I
out
think that's true.
I've tried to put out for years that we should do voter registration at Murphy Center during baccalaureate and graduation. That's where every high school
I'm
graduates.
telling you.
That's where every high
Yeah.
school practices their graduation.
Right.
And setting up 4 or 5 tables there with people who look like those kids or me and you.
Yeah.
It's fine, one of each.
And
But
we-
there are a lot of ways we could do this that aren't violating any law
No.
or stepping on any toes. And I just wish we could get to a point where somebody would say, "Oh yeah, let's go do that." And I think we're getting closer
think we
every
will.
day.
I think we
but
will.
I think I'm going to push a little
Well, we
harder
just
on
got to
that.
put.
Let's
We've
go
all got to
do
push
that.
just a little harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
'Cause
Hope, anything else from you, dear?
I was just going to agree with what the ladies are saying. We do have to get to them earlier because they are going to be our voting constituents. And these young people have some ideas. They got some bold ideas. They have opinions. And we need to sit up. We really need to listen. We really need to listen because gone are the days of thinking just because you're older, you're more wiser.
Right.
They have a lot to contribute, and we
Right.
need to pay attention.
And you know,
Exactly.
and on that note, now Danielle McGee, I'm not sure if you know her, but she's with Black People Making Moves. She was on with I'll remember her name in a second, but the young lady from the Equity Alliance and Odessa Kelly.
Tequila
Okay.
Johnson.
Okay, Tequila Johnson.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
one of the things that they said that resonated so much with me was that young people do have a lot to present
Yes,
and
they
bring
do.
to the table, and we as older individuals, more mature, they need us to kind of keep them, not as agitated, but we need that agitation. We need those kids to bring.
I love what
that-
I saw at the state capitol. I've never seen so many
Absolutely.
kids in my life.
Absolutely.
I'm telling you
And-
right now.
Absolutely.
And if
It
we
was
all-
awesome.
And can you imagine what would happen if we all got together at a table and said, let's figure out what we can do to fix this?
Sure.
Right.
That would be huge. And I am going to reach out to both of those young ladies in order to see what we can do to make that happen.
Well, we're trying to do everything I am right here, just for 1 hour on Sunday night. And it's not much, but I'll tell you what, I'll be a thorn in their side. I had people tonight, what's on tonight? What are you having on? Who's having on? I said, you're going to have to just listen in,
Yeah.
Well, I just want to summarize my little segment here by saying that, the governor's bill is House Bill 322. That's what you're talking about, Hope, the enhanced school safety legislation that he's proposed. Nothing is being done on these red flag laws. What is happening is they're trying to cram pack every bill that they can that they need to get past the Tennessee GOP into this last week, and they're going to end the
Right.
session short. But
Right.
nothing is going to happen on school safety. I'm telling you, the Democrats want the session to end and everybody to forget about it, and they don't want to have the conversation. So the best things, the Republicans, sorry,
Republicans,
The
sure.
the best,
Republicans,
yes,
right.
the Republicans. The best thing we can do is make them have that conversation. We have to keep the heat up. Monday's going to be another march at the Capitol, Moral Monday. It's happening all the time, but they want this session to end and this legislation to go away.
That's all they ever do by the time they get there. Just, we got to go home. I want to go home.
Yep. And and another thing,
Going home.
And we've got to keep the heat up because what I think what typically happens is, we get all in an uproar and we'll march and we'll
Yeah,
be at the Capitol, and if they can push it down the road long enough, we'll forget about it and we'll stop doing what
That's
Well, it's
we
been the
do.
game plan all along.
And we have
Yeah.
got to stop doing that. We have got to keep the pressure on in order to bring about the change that we're looking for.
Yes,
Oh.
and that
if I
includes
might- If I
going.
might add one thing, that's the difference between a moment and a movement.
That's
Right.
right.
We don't want this to be a moment. We
Right.
need to galvanize and make sure that it is a movement.
Yep.
Hope, we've only got a couple minutes left. I want to thank you for what you're doing. I hate to see the way that you got treated the other night. I want you to know we appreciate you. Keep it up.
Hey, Ed.
Yes.
I appreciate you too, but I'm a big girl. I'm a black girl in America, so hey, I can tell you.
Yes. Look, I can attest that if anybody can handle their own, Hope Oliver got this, okay?
I know you do. Hope, we wish you all the best. I'll be talking to you down the road, okay?
All right, then. Good night.
All right, bye-bye. Leanne Karnak, thank you.
I just want to remind
Carolyn.
everybody that the charter school, the Rutherford County Schools, is meeting April 25th at 5:30. Show up. That people need to show up. We don't need charter schools here, people. We don't need them.
We'll see you next week. Until next Sunday at 8 o'clock. I'll catch you down the road. Good night.